So, does your website look something like this? If it looks something like this, then there's a good chance that's one of the reasons why you're probably not ranking as high as you should. Now, I'll get into this into details, but before I do, please make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll jump right into the video. One of the questions I always get asked is, how much of a factor is website architecture in terms of ranking? Well, it plays a major role in how well you rank, and there are a number of reasons why that's the case. The most important reason is that the Google's crawler crawled through your website and it can't make sense of what your website is all about. It runs into bottlenecks, it runs into areas that it can't cross over, and you're kind of discouraging Google's bot from crawling all your pages holistically and understanding what it's all about when you're using the wrong architecture. Now, in all fairness, the majority of people are using the right architecture. There's the small minority of people, often ones with websites that have either very few pages, or ones that have a lot of pages, that are getting their architecture wrong, and it's usually because they didn't plan for it when they originally set up their website. Redoing your website's architecture is a nightmare. It can take long. During that time, you might lose ranking. So before I get into all of that, let me just start with the three main types of website architecture. First, probably the most common type is what's referred to as the linear architecture. And linear architecture is really just having a homepage, the homepage that connects to a service page, and the service page may connect to the About Us page, and the About Us page may connect to the Contact Us page. And so there's just 3 pages on the website, or 4 pages on the website. And usually these are for portfolio type websites or CV type website, where a person sets up a website to showcase their expertise, or just information about themselves. So the website doesn't need to be very large, it doesn't need to be very detailed, and most times the website doesn't need to rank for any keyword. This is an easy layout. It's lightweight. A crawler can come onto the website. It comes onto the website, crawls from the home page to the Contact Us page, and then bounces off. And that's just pretty simple. The problem with this layout is that it cannot be used for a website that either wants to sell a service or sell a product, or even for lead generation. Now, in the old days, a lot of lead generation websites used to use the structure, but now, with Google's emphasis on quality of content and content in general, this website structure is not going to work. So the next one is tree-like structure, and what this is one of the most, I would say, one of the most common website structures that I use. And honestly, this is the best one you can use. So you've got the home page on top, and that's followed by a service page, a Contact Us page, and a About Us page, and maybe a legal page. And then for each one, for the services page, and each individual service is broken down. And then within those services, there may be sub-services, and the same goes for every other page. And this is how it would look. This is how a hierarchical structure would look. Usually, this website can be grown to a great extent, and this gives Google's crawler the best opportunity to understand what your website is about. But this is provided that you put in, that each page is well thought of in terms of your keyword, in terms of what you're trying to target, and then the structure of the website is built so that it is around the keyword you're trying to target. And so you've clustered all the keywords around your website architecture. And this is something I'll go into a later video in more detail. But for now, suffice to say, this is the best architecture that you can use for your website. But most websites are already using it. Now, the drawback to this is you're limited to how much the website can grow. For instance, you can maybe grow to 3 or 4 levels, and afterward it'll become more complex to grow the website any further. So the more you want to grow the website, the more complex it gets. And so there will come a point where Google's crawler will come onto your website and will crawl your pages up to 3 levels, and maybe the pages on the 4th level may not be crawled. So probably this is not the best architecture for an e-commerce website. But it can be rejigged in a way that it works for an e-commerce website, but this would then be a totally different structure. It would not look anything like the structure that I have in the diagram, and so be more of a hybrid structure. Again, it will be more complex, so I'm not going to go into that into this video. But for now, I'm just going to say that this is the best site structure you can go for most types of websites. And then there's a third structure, and this is called a block structure. The block structure, as you can see in the diagram, this is a complex structure. It really just throws the Google's bot into a tailspin. So the Google's bot just goes around and around the website. And in the past, SEOs thought that this was a good thing, that you would keep Google's bot on your website for as long as possible. In reality, what you're doing is you're turning off users who are coming onto your website, because the structure is complex, it's hard to understand, and even now Google does not really like structures like this. So if you're using this as a structure on your website, you might want to rethink your strategy, because this is not going to work. The other problem with this is that you can't obviously grow the website. So it's only good if you have like a small website, maybe 7 or 8 pages, maybe 10 pages maximum. But if you want to grow the website from 10 pages to 40 pages, it's not going to work. It's not going to be the easiest to restructure. And so I would strongly advise against it. Before I close, now, so one of the questions I often get asked is, what website architecture is best for me? Now, there's no one architecture that's going to be best for you, but you're going to have to look at what your competitors are ranking for. So if your competitors are ranking and they're using a specific structure, like the top 3 websites are using a specific structure, you should use that structure. And you even do that even if it's at the expense of having to restructure your website and go through all the pain. Now I'm going to show you how to use Screaming Frog to determine what website structure your competitors are using, and then you can use the same structure and just mimic what they're doing. And you can even create the same pages in terms of the same category pages and the same everything. And Screaming Frog makes this immensely easy. Its visual tools make it easier for anyone to see what website structure they're using, and then compare their structure to what their competitors are using. And I'll go into that right now.
I've opened up Screaming Frog here real quick, and I have done a search for Nike.com. And when I've scanned Nike.com, this is everyone's favorite brand, and I want to know exactly what website structure Nike.com is using, so that my website, which is also a branded e-commerce site, uses the same structure. Now, this can be used for any other website. Also, if you guys want to see a full tutorial on how to use Screaming Frog for SEO, leave a comment below, because I think most people know how to use Screaming Frog. But if you're one of those who is not sure how to use it, or you've not used Screaming Frog before for competitor analysis, just leave a comment below, and I will make a video or maybe a series of videos explaining how to use Screaming Frog. So I've gone ahead and scanned this website here real quick. And what I want to do is I want to go to crawl analysis right here on the top. Let's go to visualization over here real quick. I want to go to directory tree graph. And it'll take a second to process. And this is what it shows me for Nike.com. So as you can see, this is the HTTPS www.nike.com, and this is how it's structured. So it's got this main structure, which are these main categories, and then it branches off right here entirely to, which I believe is their series of blog posts. Let me just take a quick look over here. So this is, I think these are like maybe a list of products. And so this is basically a hybrid structure. So it's got a hierarchical structure or a tree structure, but it's got 2 trees linked to the main domain. As a matter of fact, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 trees linked to the main domain. This is something we'd have to explore. If you go into this, you will see that all of these that are marked red are no index. So they've got multiple trees. So for each tree, there's a blog tree, I believe, and there's the different trees for clothing store for different types of clothing. And so basically, if you're going to mimic this, you want to use a tree structure. So I'll go ahead and give you guys another example here real quick. Let's close this. and I'll do bbc.co.uk. Let's go ahead and crawl BBC real quick. So I'm using the free version, as you guys can see. And the reason why I use the free version for all my demos, unless I really need to use the paid version, is to show you that you don't really need to buy tools to do what I'm doing. So you can do this using the free version without having to pay. But if you have a larger website, or if you're doing client SEO and the client has a large website with 400 or 500 pages, at that point you might want to consider getting the annual subscription for Screaming Frog, because it's very worth it. And this is one of the first tools that I use when I'm running an analysis of a website. It comes in handy, and it's got a lot of features. And as you can see, I'm not affiliated with Screaming Frog yet, but I use it a lot, and so I recommend it a lot. Same as I recommend Surfer SEO or any other tool that I use a lot. The Surfer SEO is a paid tool, and it does not offer this kind of crawling. So I'll go ahead and pause it here real quick. I think the pages we have are enough for Screaming Frog to generate a report. We'll go to visualizations. We'll go to directory tree graph and minimize this here real quick. Okay. And this is the directory tree graph. So as you can see, bbc.co.uk is also using a tree-like structure. So it's a hierarchical structure. So you've got all the main categories here: programs, iPlayer, news. These are all the main categories. And for news, it just goes down into these subcategories, which is for various various places in the UK. For some reason, these two pages or these two categories have been no indexed. And all of these are indexed. So this is not an entire crawl, but this is just 13% of the crawl. And as you can see, you can just tell. So if you wanted to build a news website and you were competing against bbc.co.uk, or you wanted to get an idea of how your news website should be structured, this would be a good place to start. So you can use a structure that is similar to this, and you will have a great deal of success.
If you have a question, leave a comment below. If you like the video, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.